What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest All About the Birds weekly report. This is the schedule release party because we're all so excited about the schedule that's been released before our 53-man roster's been finished, before anything else. But this is the schedule release party, All About the Birds weekly report. Phil Stifle, Jeff Warner, Chip Keggy, Johnny Uleka. The entire team's all here. If you're on Facebook, make sure you click share it out there to all your followers. Make sure you turn notifications on so you always know when we are live. If you're on Twitter, the retweet button. If you're watching on YouTube, thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. And again, on all the sites, make sure you turn notifications on because we're live all the time. We've got a long list of network shows every single week. We are brought to you by Manscaped because your balls will thank you. 20% off with the code AATBirds. It also gets you free shipping. Great quality products for all your man grooming needs. Odds Jam, the arbitrage calculator. Basically, calculate the odds so you never lose money. And Statement Games, one of our favorite sponsors. It's a fun, free, new twist on fantasy games. There's a new All About the Birds only contest on NFL wins predictions. We're going to get into that as the offseason. It won't lock to the start of the NFL season, but it's up on their main page. Make sure you check that out. And all of our people, 99jerseys.com included. There is at the bottom of this show, in the description of the show, links to all their websites. AAT Birds, again, 20% off on 99jersey.com. I was looking at it today, and there's like 170 different football jerseys now that I want because I thought it was just Al Bundy and, Sugar Shane Falco and Bobby Boucher. They've got so many other jerseys. And I was under their basketball section. They literally have every single all-star there is out there, their college jersey. You can get a Stephon Marbury college jersey. You can get I think I saw a Steph Curry high school jersey. Love it. Great stuff.
Yeah, and plus with Father's Day coming up in less than a month, I mean, get your orders in now using our code because this is something that the dads and dudes in your life will definitely like.
Hey, just like I said on my Twitter account on Mother's Day, mom dogs count. I'm a dad dog. Dad dogs count too, so you can always buy me something for Father's Day on there. And we're going to dive right into it because people are already chiming in the comments section. Jay, Adam, Jason, what's up, everybody? The schedule. Is it as easy as they say it is? Is it not? It's just too early to really, truly judge. But we've got it. We've got to break it down. We've got to look at it. We've got the schedule up on the screen that we could share here. Let's break down the first couple games and look at it. This is right from the Philly. Don, again, congratulations on winning NHL Teacher of the Year. Beating out. It's a good thing you beat out those Pittsburgh guys because that would have really been disappointing. So great job. Congratulations on all of that. And thanks to all of our supporters for voting for Don, helping him win that contest there. We greatly appreciate that. So schedule. We open the season. All the black, things are the away games. The green are the homes. We start week 1, 1 o'clock, Atlanta.
Let's go.
Let's just break down week 1. Thoughts on week 1 having the Atlanta Falcons, another lower tier team. What are your guys' thoughts on that as the first matchup?
Well, I'm really glad that the Eagles decided to address defense in the draft because we don't have a single linebacker that can cover Pitts. Or Julio Jones.
Cover Pitts. We don't have anybody that can cover Julio Jones. Nobody that can put pressure on Matt Ryan, really. So
yeah, I know that people are already saying like, oh, this is a pretty evenly matched game because this is a lower tier team. Yeah, I see this game because of the offensive weapons that the Falcons have, and this is going to be a common theme. You're going to see a team trying to figure out their offense on the Eagles' offensive side of the ball and relying on the defense to try and stop. I don't see the Falcons being stopped by the Eagles' defense as they stand right now.
The opening line for the game is the Falcons are a 2.5-point favorite. So it's borderline a pick'em game. The home team normally gets 3 points and then they adjust it from there. They haven't put out the over-unders yet, but Johnny, do you agree? It's going to be a high-scoring game either way because the Falcons obviously don't have a great defense either, but there's no way our defense can get exposed instantly week 1.
Yeah, and the way I like to, pump the brakes on some of the people wanting to make predictions and records and everything. Mm-hmm. The rosters aren't fully set. There's many things that can happen, and honestly, I don't think Julio Jones is going to be on the Falcons when week 1 rolls around. I think he's going to wind up getting dealt this summer at some point. But the Falcons revamped their whole entire secondary. Their defense is not very good as well. So, it could be a game that's, a back and forth type of game, but it is tough. Atlanta does have offensive weapons. They do have Calvin Ridley. They do have Kyle Pitts. They've got some weapons, and you can never discount Matt Ryan. He's getting into his mid-30s, but the problem is Matt Ryan still is a capable quarterback, and the weapons that are around him are pretty scary if you take a look at that.
And mid-30s doesn't mean the same thing that it used to.
With a quarterback.
With a quarterback. Mid-30s used to mean like, okay, you're in your twilight years, but you're seeing Brady, Breeze, and Rivers all having really successful careers in their late 30s, early 40s. I mean, everyone's writing off Matt Ryan, saying that, well, he's almost done. He's almost done. We got to get the quarterback of the future. I don't know if Matt Ryan knows that, because in his 30s, he could just be starting to kind of hit that stride with the weapons that he has.
Absolutely. Jeff, Atlanta, week 1. Dude, I'm agreement there, at least on the point of it, that it's going to be a tough defensive test to start.
I feel it's going to be an exciting game. There's a lot of unknowns. You have two teams that going into the season with new head coach, there's a lot of unknowns. The Eagles on offense, Jalen Hurts is if he's named the starter, which we expect, his first opportunity as the starter to start the season, and going on the road in a very loud environment. So it's going to be interesting to see how Jalen Hurts as a young quarterback going into that type of role. And plus, you have two of the top playmakers from this past year's draft. You have, like Chip said, you have Kyle Pitts on the other side. You have Devontae Smith entering his first game as a rookie. So it's going to be, I feel, a very high explosive matchup. It's going to be an exciting matchup. I'll say we're not going to get a lot of answers right off the bat, I feel, but it's going to be a good test for the Eagles opening week 1, especially on the road early in the season against an NFC opponent.
And I think, Johnny, we could look at bring the schedule back up here. I think I could do it from your screen. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
The whole first 3, 4, 5, even 6 weeks of this schedule, our defense, which I've been clamoring for us to address more and more, and they didn't. Our defense is going to be tested a lot early and often.
Yeah, you're going to be tested because there's going to be players that are in their first and second years that are going to be playing a lot of meaningful snaps. So you're going to see what you have now. The defensive line is going to be the veteran of the group, and to be able to get pressure on the quarterback always helps you in the back end if you're able to get to the quarterback and cause some chaos. But the thing is, you look at these teams, and Dallas is a potent offense. Kansas City, we know what with Kansas City, Tampa Bay. And even if you look at Carolina, I know Sam Darnold is there, but they do have offensive weapons, and DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. They have weapons on that. So they will be tested early and often.
So we start with the Falcons on the road, 1:00 game. We come home. We have our home opener with fans in the stands. As of this moment, we've been cleared for full 100% capacity for Eagles games, which is something we definitely have to address multiple times throughout this show. That's a big deal for the fans, for the players, for everything. I love Darius Slay's tweet. Can't wait to feel the energy of the link for the fans, from the fans and all.
Well, not just home games. I would say Philadelphia is one of those fan bases that travel really well on the road. Yeah. And you look at a lot of these away games, there's a lot of big
everybody's already talking about week 7 and the trip to Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas.
It's Vegas, baby. Yeah, exactly.
Atlanta's a great city. I've never been to Denver. I'm not saying it's the great tourist city, but hey, Mile High Stadium has a lot of
it's in Colorado, so.
Well, yeah.
There's other reasons to go there, too.
Good activities.
So San Francisco, week 2. We can kind of group the next 2 or 3 games together, guys. So we come home for San Francisco, another 1:00 game. We got one of our 2 primetime games in week 3 on the road at Texas Stadium against the Cowboys. And that's I believe it's a Monday night, not Sunday night, right? The 27th, I think.
We don't have any Sunday. We have no Sunday night games this year.
Okay, so that's good. And then week 4, back home, 1:00 again against the Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid. So Chip, we'll just look at the first 4 weeks there.
Okay.
Are you scared that we could have, depending on, there's so much unknown still at this team. There's the Jordan Hicks, rumor floating around. There's the cornerback rumors floating around and stuff. We don't know the system here. but that's a really tough first 4 weeks of the schedule, is it not?
I mean, I'm looking at it, and to add on to the rumors, we don't buy into it a lot on our show, but still the fact that there's the Deshaun Watson rumors rolling around and the Aaron Rodgers. I mean, none of these are realistic. So let's just, again, on our show, let's just stop with that right away.
Right.
So assuming, like we said, that Jalen Hurts is our quarterback and that the lineup and the roster stay as is right now, I look at this and I see 1-3. I see a loss to the Falcons. Again, knowing nothing about the system, knowing nothing, looking at the roster as it stands right now. I see a loss to the Falcons. I see a stealing of a win against the 49ers. And then a healthy Dak Prescott does what the Dallas Cowboys do on their offense. And we're not beating the Chiefs. We are not beating the Chiefs. I don't care if they add players, if they have the system of all systems by week 4. We're not beating the Kansas City Chiefs. They are on an elite tier where the Eagles are like, thank you for letting us play in the NFL right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Jeff, again, same question to you. I think 1-3 is a very optimistic even look at it.
I said steal a win.
Steal. So Jeff, is that optimistic? Is that fair? Or is there a real chance that this team could be going into week 5 0-4?
I feel like it's fair. Look, I know we play this game. Everyone does with the win-loss in the middle of May when we haven't had training camp, we haven't had mini camps, we haven't had any of that. So the people that are looking at this schedule and saying they're going like 10-4 or a 12-5, whatever the heck it is, and we have George here saying that this is a giant preseason, we have to remember this is a 4-win football team from a year ago. Yes, we made a couple improvements, especially getting Devontae Smith and getting some key free agents here and there to fill some roles, but we still have a lot of unknowns. So none of these games are cakewalks, even though statistically we have the easiest schedule next season based off records because we had a 4th place NFC losing record last year. So let's throw the winning records out the window before we even have a snap. But that's
interesting because Johnny, we don't know what we are, but we also don't know what the Cowboys are or the Washington football team or the Giants. Giants are still in there rebuilding to an extent. Washington's got a new quarterback, won the division last year. But Dallas, I mean, Dak is coming off of potentially a career-ending injury. How do we even know he's going to be good? So I don't think we could we don't know if Jimmy Garoppolo or Trey Lance is going to be starting week 2 for San Francisco. Can we even – I mean, there's chances that we go 2-2 or 3-1 in that first stretch because there's so many unknowns with this team and the teams on this schedule. That's why I think it's an easy schedule.
Yeah, and you look at the easy schedule, you can't look at I know last year's records and you look at that, but you look at these first 4 games and going from weeks 2 to 4 here, San Francisco, like you said, who's going to be the quarterback? Is it going to be Jimmy Garoppolo? Is it going to be Trey Lance? The Cowboys, yes, the Cowboys have a good offense on paper looking at everything that they
great
have
offense.
Exactly. And you look at their defense, though. Yes, Dan Quinn is the defensive coordinator, but you have to remember that Dan Quinn in Seattle ran Pete Carroll's defense. And then when he got to Atlanta and was the head coach of Atlanta, after they fired him last year, their defense actually got better without him. So to say that he's the savior to make that defense so much better than what it was last year, they got a lot of new parts and new pieces on that defense as well. So it's a rivalry. It doesn't matter. You never know when it comes to the NFC East and, each team playing each other. But then the Chiefs, of course, the Chiefs are that offensive juggernaut. And yes, you get them at home, but Patrick Mahomes is one of the best quarterbacks in the game right now. And that's going to be a tough task for a defense, which I think Jonathan Gannon, you look at his personnel, is going to run a kind of a 4-3 under type of scheme. He may have like 5 guys up front, like a 5-1, that kind of front there. But it's going to be, you're going to look at a 4-3 under. If anybody doesn't really know what that is, just take a look at what Seattle ran and what the Patriots kind of ran. You take a look at that. You look it up and Google, it'll explain it well to you. I don't have time to explain what it is, but
continue. Sorry.
I'm not going to put a number on it because, like Jeff said, I'm not going to say, they're going to be 1-3, 2-2, because you just don't know. The roster is so far from being completed. I just don't know. And to put a number on it, I just can't do it. They're going to be 4 tough games.
Yeah. So Jeff reminded us again, as he does 3 out of every 4 shows. They're a 4-win team. Now, first off, it's going to be really hard to not make a 16-game prediction. To remember, I got to say 8-9 or 7-10. It's not 8-8 or. That's
I
really
know.
tough
I
to
keep on
adjust
thinking
to.
16 games.
Yeah,
It's 17.
it's going to be really hard to adjust. But I had a question for this show that I wasn't sure where I was going to throw it in. I'm going to just throw it in there now because, again, we look at this schedule. There's so many unknowns. We could be 2-2. Heck, we could beat the Falcons and the 49ers if Trey Lance and who knows what's going on with the Cowboys there. Who knows? Maybe we're 3-0 to start. Maybe everyone's talking about this being an easy schedule. Is it, Chip, you can answer first if you want. Is this a potential season where if we win 8 games, 9 games, which is way above what most people would expect of this team, could we be end up putting false expectations going into the next season on this team where we don't learn the proper stuff because we're going up against so many other teams that are also bad and then have a lot of question marks? Jalen Hurts might look really good these first couple of weeks against bad defenses. Now everybody's going to overvalue Jalen Hurts. So you get what I'm getting at there?
I do. So I don't see, yes, there are games on this schedule that are definitely of the easier variety. But I don't see this as an easy schedule. I see the Chargers a very tough game. I see Kansas City as a very tough game. I see Tampa Bay as a very tough game. I see the Dallas games as tough games. I see Washington as tough games. So a lot of these games are against good teams. I think in your scenario where if they win 8-9 games and they are further ahead of what we mentally are placing them at, one thing you do potentially solidify is that Jalen Hurts is your guy. He's not the quarterback of right now. He's your quarterback. And I think that's the biggest thing that we got to take away from the season of trying to figure out, is he the future or is he the right now?
But George is misinterpreting it. I'm saying if we're playing, because we're ranked as what? The worst or the easiest or the second easiest schedule going into the season. And with all the unknowns still on the table there and all. Might we get a poor judgment of what talent? Because, you go up against the Falcons, they have just as bad of a defense as we do. So you might get an unfair look at what Jalen Hurts really is, or, Jalen Reagor or somebody else, because they're not really playing that great of a team either. So it's a fear of mine that we're not going to get a true understanding of who we have with the schedule being so easy.
Yes and no. Look, yes, we're going up against in our from last year's records bad opponents and the easiest schedule, but like we bring up, the NFL changes from year to year. A team that's bad last year can easily be a good football team next year. But also, it all depends on how those games are performed. If they struggle against inferior opponent, then yeah, you have something you can judge on and be concerned about. But if they're blowing teams out that they're supposed to be beating, then it just shows that this team has a little bit more talent than what we believed in.
But Phil, remember in 2016, Doug Peterson's first season, they started that season 3-0.
Yep.
Everyone had all these high hopes, everything. They finished the year 4-9 to finish 4-9 after that to then be 7-9. So do they start the season off 2-1, 3-1, and everyone gets those hopes of, hey, this may be something, and then all of a sudden it starts to fizzle out because they're not. Of course, they're a young team. They're inexperienced, and mistakes will happen, and stuff like that will come into play and disappoint people. But to me, it's a building year, and to try to get development and value out of your draft class this year, last year, and the previous year, to be able to build a foundation to this team that they desperately need, because these veterans are not going to be around here forever.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the next couple weeks here. So after Kansas City at home, which we got away, home. No major stretches to start the season. And actually, the 2 road games and the 2 home games are the only. We don't have any 3-game road trips or 3-game homestands.
Yeah, that part is nice. That's a gift.
Yeah, exactly. Those back to back. And honestly, outside of where is it? Vegas is like Vegas and Denver are our 2 furthest away games. So we're not traveling to Arizona or Seattle, which is
even our back-to-back game, which is other back-to-back game is weeks 12 and 13. It's to the same damn stadium.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we get a bye week.
Yeah. So there's some really not easy opponents, but well-written schedule outside the bye week at week 14, which we'll get to later. But week 5, we go on the road. Carolina, a team that I'm super interested in seeing year 2 under Matt Rule with. And then, of course, so not only do we got Kansas City week 4, we got the defending champ. We got the losing Super Bowl team in week 4 and the defending Super Bowl champion in week 6, at least both at home. You know, if you want to re-break it down and just look at 4, 5, and 6, that's a real tough stretch there.
So I'm more optimistic about that section. Again, I know I keep saying this. The roster's not done. We're basically just taking guesses here. But I see that's a possibility where you could go 2-2 because, look, we're not going to be Kansas City unless we literally don't give them the ball, which is why having 8 running backs on the roster currently is very beneficial. We're not beating Tampa Bay unless we don't give them the ball. And even then, we still have to stop them from killing us. But I see the Panthers as a very winnable game because, yes, it's another year under Matt Rule, but it's still a first year under Sam Darnold, learning a system. And I don't know if he has a full grasp of the system by week 5. And then the Raiders, they like to shoot themselves in the foot.
Well, that was going to be the next game because everybody's centering in on that game because everybody wants to travel. Everyone wants to go to stadiums. Week 7, Las Vegas.
New
That stadium's going to be packed every single week with road teams, or road fans traveling to see their team. Jeff, have you bought your plane ticket to Week 7 in LA yet, or Las Vegas yet?
I looked into it.
I've seen some tickets for that game are going in the $700 range right now.
I know. I'll say that in Atlanta, I was able to find a round trip airfare from AB, which is like 10 minutes for me for $200 round trip. So Atlanta might be my road game right now.
All right, gotcha. I had a question now, and I don't even remember what I was going to say about it because we're talking trips and everything. I just got back from vacation. Johnny, what are your thoughts with 5, 6, and 7 there? Panthers, Buccaneers, the Raiders.
So, I'm going to start with the Bucks. I'm going to kind of focus on that one. The Raiders are going to be tough. Vegas, the first time in that stadium. Of course, it's the first year that they're actually going to have fans in that stadium. But talking with the Bucks, I know the Bucks brought back basically all 22 of their
all-starters,
which has not been done since 1977. So, of course, it's a rare feat. But what I have to say with that is, remember, they also didn't really suffer many injuries last year. And all these guys are a year older. The Ndamukong Suhs, the Rob Gronkowskis, all these guys aren't like young. So my thing is, don't just count them chalk it up as they're going to be great again. They're going to be, this tough. Because remember, to start the year and in the middle of the year, they weren't very potent as they were kind of in the playoffs. But to me, they're not. To me, it's a winnable game because it's a Thursday night game. At home, I feel it's a little bit, home teams on Thursday night do a little well. So that could possibly be your game that they can kind of sneak out. But
that's the steal instead of San Francisco. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how the team's playing.
Of course,
I don't know if I can judge that one there. You're saying home teams do better on the Thursday games. You still got to travel on Sunday the week before.
Yeah, short week of preparation.
Yeah. I don't know about that. Chip, Tampa Bay, Eagles beating Tampa Bay.
I think Tampa Bay is a loss, and I think it's an ugly one because yes, they're a year older, but like you said, they didn't suffer any injuries. Tom Brady was kept upright most of the season, and you mentioned that. The idea was, they struggled in the meat of their season. Yeah, they were all learning a new offense, and once it clicked, they were unstoppable. So it's not with all 22 coming back. It's not like they have to, reintroduce little key components to. They all know the system. They're already firing on year 2, all of them on the same page. So barring some horrific injury to a major player, I don't even consider Gronk to be a major player on the team. Like he's their tight end, yes, but he's not.
He's one of 3 tight ends that are all.
That's my point. And Ndamukong Suh, yes, he's a good player, but he's not a essential player. I think if this team goes as far as is Tom Brady healthy, yes, they are unstoppable. No, they are very beatable.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick on a non-Eagles note, you brought up Sam Darnold, his first year at the Panthers. Who in the NFL committee that does the schedule gave the Panthers first game of the year against the Jets? Is that not like why aren't there more storyline? Like why aren't we playing the Colts this year? Why aren't teams like? Why doesn't
Well,
the
because
NFL?
it's the way the rotation is.
Well, the rotation is stupid, and
It's
they-
every 4 years.
Yeah, I know, but they should be building. You added a 17th game, and we get the Jets. You know,
'Cause they did East and East to start. So
you
next
should
year we'll
use
do
that
the North.
17th game to create entertaining, topics of discussion. You did it with the Panthers and the Jets week 1. I think it's a great storyline. But anyway, going to the next part of the schedule here, the rest of the middle line here, we got week 8 going up against Jason's Detroit Lions in Detroit. It's our only major road trip, Vegas to Detroit. Man, that's really dropping off right there. Going Vegas to Detroit. Then we come home. We face the Los Angeles Chargers. I wrote it down not to forget to say Los Angeles and not San Diego. Then we go back on the road to Denver, which is a tough place to play, especially when you're not used to going to Denver with the altitude and all. Back home for the Saints, as Adam brought up a few seconds ago. If Aaron Rodgers leaves, which I don't think he's going to leave, the Saints would be a place for him to go. So that would be interesting.
They have no
And then our
money to
first
do that.
divisional game against the Giants in New York, week 12 there. This middle section is probably the section that has the most potential, in my opinion, for a lot of highs and a lot of lows. There are some winnable games against some bad teams here, but there's also some really tough games in the schedule.
Yeah, and the thing with Adam's point about Aaron Rodgers, I'm not looking at the Saints. I'm looking at the Broncos. The Broncos could be a team that lands him in. What does it look like? You feel a little bit, you look at that game and you're thinking, well, Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater. Okay, you like your chances a little bit like that. But if you see Aaron Rodgers, you're like, okay, this is a whole nother thing because they have a ton of offensive weapons. But for me, that stretch makes a lot of sense of almost therein lies your window to, put together some wins. Because you look at all those teams, there's not issues, but there's things with each of those teams that are big question marks. Now, the first, like you said, the first 6, there's teams that are just stacked and know who they are. That middle section, it's an open.
Obviously, the division was won by a sub 500 team in Washington last year. I know we're in a rebuild, not a retool. It's not a quick turnaround. You win 1 or 2 of those first 6 games. That middle section, there are some beatable games that then set up the final third of the schedule where you have divisional opponents, which again, the NFC East, it's a tough division. They always fight each other hard. Who knows what happens comes down the stretch. Maybe we get lucky and we have some competitive football or meaningful football those last few weeks. San Diego, man, I just said San Diego. I know. I practiced for when I said their name the first time. I messed it up there. They will always be the San Diego Superchargers to me.
I agree.
Herbert might be able to light us up, but their defense isn't great. Denver, quarterback question marks. And honestly, I think the Saints, if they don't go out and get another quarterback, are going to have a huge drop-off this year. Chip, thoughts on that middle section?
No, I agree. I think that the Saints, first off, I don't see the Broncos as a game that we lose. I don't think the quarterbacks there are good enough. So barring them getting one of the big name guys who wants out of their current location, I don't see them losing that game, even though it's in, Denver and all that. The Saints game, it's interesting. Again, for me, a lot of it ties into who is playing quarterback for some of these teams. If it's a team that has a set quarterback, like we know that we're facing Justin Herbert in week 9. Justin Herbert is a good young quarterback. That's going to be a win for the Chargers because we don't know how to stop him. We don't have the defensive ability to stop him. The Saints, if they roll out Taysom Hill, if they roll out Jameis Winston, I feel good about our chances. The Giants and the Jets, those aren't good football. They're just not. They're not good football teams.
But neither are we.
We're not a good football team. But again, we don't know what this team is. We don't know what kind of offense. We don't know who's going to be healthy by week 11. We don't know if our young guys are going to be still learning the system or settled in at that point. We just don't know.
Jeff?
Yeah, look, all these games up here, they're winnable and they're losable. And I would say that's how I look at most of the schedule. And I would say there's a couple of tough stretches, like we brought up the middle pack. I would say the fact you get to go on the road 3 out of 4 weeks, And then the week before your one of the road games, you go against the Kansas City Chiefs, and then the defending Super Bowl champions on a short week. A lot of unknowns when it comes to a lot of these teams. Who's, like you guys brought up, who's going to be playing quarterback, but it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback for the Broncos. It's still a tough atmosphere, and the Eagles are a team over the last. I understand it's a new head coach, but they have a history of not playing well on the road. So I feel a lot of these games early on are winnable and losable, and that can make or break their season. And really, I'm not really judging next year off of wins and losses. Yeah, if we're winning football games, it's a more positive. Again, it's about the development of this roster and a lot of the young players moving forward and how they're developing for the future for this franchise. But I'll say
even Detroit, it's a winnable game. Yeah. But I mean, it's not like going from Matthew Stafford to Jared Goff is that much of a drop off. They're going to still be an okay team there in Detroit.
But I have to disagree with one of our commenters, which, again, let us know what you think of your Eagles record prediction. You like it, your negatives, all that. Make sure you're hitting the comment section letting us know. Where is it? Paul Crumbly saying here that he thinks the Week 14 bye sucks so late in the season. I have to disagree. I have to totally disagree. Look, the reason I was saying when the leaks were coming out, I brought it up. Johnny said he thought it was strange that they were having 4 straight divisional games to end the season. Look,
it's not
the NFL even thinks they don't know who's going to win this division because how crappy the division was last year. They want it proven in the last 4 weeks. The fact that you have a bye week before you have 4 straight divisional opponents, 3 out, 4 on the road, 3 or 4 at home. I like it. I would say you get healthy at just the right point, and that those last 4 games can make or break whether you make the playoffs or not. So you want to be healthy and full strength as much as possible.
Yeah. Right. And the other thing is that, the NFL started making this move a couple of years ago where they do backload your divisional games so that people don't lose interest of the season. Like you don't secure the division championship at week 10 anymore. You actually have to play. And even if your team sucks, you still have 4 games. And in our reality, 5 of our last 6 games are divisional games. So 5 out of the 8 games that we would need to play in the division, or I said that wrong. No, 5 out of the 6. 5 out of the 6 games in the division that we have to play are all in the back end of the season. Yep. That's exactly what the NFL wants. They do this for all the conferences. It's not just ours.
I mean, this isn't surprising. I think the Week 14 bye is also. I see why you guys say it's a positive. For as young as we are, we do have a lot of old players. Yeah, if we were competing. Yeah, exactly. We also have a lot of old players on this team. How many injuries do we have last year? We still need, blows for these guys. Now we're throwing a 17th game into the season. A Week 14 bye. I mean, ideally your bye would always be between 8, 9, and 10. It would just be so much simpler then. But you start getting people on the offensive line going down, or Brandon Brooks, or Jason Kelsey, or whoever else has an issue. You might need that bye a little sooner to get them healthy. So it's just something that I don't like it when it's week 3 or 4. I also don't like it when it's at the end of the season and all like that.
But also another interesting thing when you look at from November 21st until January 2nd, they don't leave the East Coast.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I love having.
That's
we
true.
do have 5 road games in a 7-game stretch from week 7 to 13. But again, the Raiders are the furthest one away. So that doesn't hurt. 2 road games in a row, Jets and Giants. It helps that they're both in the same stadium. That's drivable the night before.
And then the bye's right after.
So, I mean, it's a well thought out schedule at that point. And then obviously after the bye week, we close with 2 Washington football team games. Are we still calling them Washington football team?
Yeah, they still have officially come up with
still
the
saying
team.
Washington football team
as of right now.
I may have said San Diego, but I didn't say the other name for Washington yet. And we got the Giants, and we close on the Cowboys. Which again, I love the way the NFL does it now with all divisional games at the end. Again, the intrigue is always there. If Dallas has got 5 wins, or if Dallas has got 12 wins, or a win away from the division title, being able to knock them off at that point, just for pride. There's a lot of positives by doing that. George, I'm not counting wins. I'm not. I will not say how many wins we have until the pre-show week 1 before the first Eagles game against the Atlanta Falcons there. That will be the next time you hear me say how many wins this team will have.
Yeah, George,
Guaranteed.
we haven't officially given our win-loss record. We're just breaking down the games on the
honestly.
schedule, how the
I think,
season's gonna shape up.
this is the dumbest topic of a show we have to do. Everybody gets so hyped up about the schedule release.
I love it.
We don't know what the schedule even means because we still know so little about the team. I'll learn more about this team after this weekend with the rookie minicamp that's going on, which we'll get into in a minute. But any other things that stick out to you on the schedule, Chip?
No, I mean, I look at the schedule and like I said, the NFC East we know is a winnable division. And if they win it, cool. But it doesn't say anything to me about what this team is moving forward. This team, the judge on this team cannot be through wins and losses this season. And if that's what you're doing, then you don't understand football. Yes, looking at the schedule, I go 17-0. Let's do it. But looking at it realistically, you have to go, okay, what point does Jalen Hurts hit that wall where there's enough tape on him and teams start game planning around him? At what point does Nick Sirianni tip his hand too much and go to the well too many times? And then does he adjust from that? Because that was one thing Chip Kelly did not do. He went to the well over and over again. Teams caught on, and then he never adjusted. That's why he was run out. Doug Peterson, his offense was so boring that teams were like, okay, we don't even have to game plan for this. We know what's coming. So at what point, what kind of you have to ask the bigger questions here and get some answers. And then if you happen to win a couple games in the process, as a fan, that part is awesome.
Johnny, I think this schedule tells a lot because we only have one Monday night game, no Sunday night game, and one Thursday night game. So they have not put us in prime time at all because there's nothing to put in prime time. Even some of these great teams that we're going up against, you think about it, the Dallas game and Tampa Bay game, they're the only primetime games. I mean, they didn't put us in prime time against anybody else. So that says something about this team.
The week 15 is either Saturday or Sunday. So if it's a Saturday, it possibly could be a night game. And there's a lot of flexes in case, if it's a winnable, like if it's a divisional game that's enticing, they could always flex it out, stuff like that. But, looking at this, also there is 3 preseason games as of now. So there's, some tune-up games for these younger players to, get some game action with Pittsburgh, New England, and then at the Jets, which is pretty funny that they're playing the Jets at the Jets in, preseason, which all had question marks. So they may not even play that game. But the way I look at schedule, I like the schedule release, especially now because we can see what game we can have the All About the Birds tailgate. We can always plan that too.
Well, it's a great segue. So fans are back in the stadium. Who's going to a game? I mean, I've only been to 2 Eagles games in my life because, regular season games. I can't afford that. I hate the cold weather. If you're going to get
you go to Florida like 6 or 7 times a year, but you can't afford to go to one Eagles game.
But you didn't hear the second part of that. I absolutely hate the cold weather. Hence why I go to Florida.
You go to September.
Maybe.
Unless it's a night game. Night game might be a little chilly in September.
I went to the Giants-Eagles Monday night game 2 years ago where they came back after being down. It was icy, rainy, snowy. It was an awful weather game, and I was miserable the entire time. So what are we expectations for a full stadium? How do we think this is going to – are they going to allow tailgating? Are people going to adhere to all the rules? Like, are you guys ready for fans to be back in a stadium? And are you ready to be back in a stadium?
I don't really care. I'm not a big going to the game kind of guy. I much prefer the Blake's by the Bay, which is, my father-in-law's basement, which is like the man cave of all man caves. Just again, better TV. But again, like going to the games, I always enjoy them, but at the same time, no, they're not going to follow the rules. They didn't follow the rules pre-COVID. Now you got a whole bunch of people who are just excited to be back. It's going to be an absolute shit show, and it's going to be awesome the home team. It's going to be awesome for the home team, and I will, wave from afar and enjoy it. But yeah, I mean, I've gone to my games here and there, and I always get, pretty decent seats when I do go. It's just like, if I go, cool, and if I don't, that's okay too. That's always my mentality of going to games.
With the full stadiums, is that going to be another step towards maybe having preseason games?
I think they're gonna have preseason games, just because, everything that they've been doing. Even if the preseason games are half capacity, which usually it is, even when it's full capacity, because not many people go to those games because it's just basically young guys, they're third, fourth teamers playing. But I think you look at full stadiums, and the thing about it is, it's the electricity and the crowd noise and how loud the crowd is going to be and how the players are going to feed off of that. And that's huge because a lot of players do feed off of some crowd noise and being able to perform with a crowd instead of an empty stadium. That's not like practice or high school or, that nature. But I feel full stadiums is going to be, I think that's what they're going to gear. They're gearing for that. Of course, we did see the Don Smolenski for the Eagles, the president, put something out yesterday about expecting 100% capacity, but I like it.
I thought preseason games were already announced.
Yeah,
they've
were.
announced them, but there's still question marks on whether they will play. I don't think they have official times and tickets for sale and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So, Jeff, how many games are you going to go to this year then, if you're allowed to go? I mean, you don't got your credential passes anymore.
I know. I have to wait and see. I have to factor in the road schedules and all that type of stuff. Probably a few, but
he can't say it live. His wife is watching.
Yeah, my wife is watching. So she knows it's coming.
Oh, she already commented right there. There you go. None.
Real, sweetie. That's not the truth. But I'm excited.
George is going to fly across the pond to get to a game.
I'll meet you, George. I'll say, tell me where you're going. I'll go. But look, I would say it's just exciting to have football back. Regardless of COVID, people are still going to travel. People are excited to get back to normal. Sporting events are getting back to normal. And at least here in the state of Pennsylvania, once people are 70% people are vaccinated, the restrictions are off the hook. So as far as following rules by the time the regular season starts, there might not be any. I'm sure you're still going to have people that are still skeptical or a little concerned. They probably still might wear a mask, but you're seeing in Florida, you see in Texas right now, no one's wearing masks. No one's social distancing.
I was just in Florida. I actually felt weird getting on the airplane today, which both flight to and from Tampa were completely full capacity. Everyone wore their mask on the planes. But once I got to Florida, I got in, I checked in on the elevator. I took my mask off because no one was on the elevator with me. And then someone got on the elevator at the next floor. And I didn't put it on because they didn't have one on. And I never put a mask on the rest of my entire trip because no one's wearing masks in Florida at all. So it really did feel weird to feel that way and to feel somewhat back to normal. Just a little
Sorry,
scared,
sweetie. I won't be here for Addie's birthday party. The Eagles play the Cowboys on the road on Monday night, so I'll be in Dallas. Have fun.
Marriage over.
Yeah, Jeff will not be on the next show
but yeah, it's going to be exciting. They already said there's going to be a lot of tailgating. I think as of June, at least in Philly, I think for Phillies and like Sixers games, they're allowing tailgating in the parking lot. So,
if we could set up an outdoor tailgate, I'll come out and do all the shows if we can find a way to get internet outside the stadium while you guys are all in the stadium and I'll just do that way. Real quick, we got about 15 minutes left in the show. Before we get all your final predictions that are locked in stone on the thing, just to annoy George a little bit there, we do have rookie minicamp happening this weekend. It looks like all the rookies are there that we picked up this year. We get to see the NWO show up, which we're super excited about.
Yeah.
No, nobody excited.
Jamie Newman, baby. We have the president of the Jamie Newman fan club here on the All About the Birds Network.
The president and only member of the fan club is right there. So,
I don't know about that. I'm not the only.
So
member.
We haven't even heard though yet how many of the second year players, because I think it would be a really great opportunity for the second year players to be at this camp as well. We saw a lot of the rookies this year showing up today and yesterday with their bags and all. It's the first time we get to see in almost 2 years camps and practice. We're going to get to see some footage of some kind of practice and workout with Nick Sirianni. To me, that news and what's happening this weekend is 10 times more exciting than getting to see the schedule because we're actually going to get a small glimpse of what's going on.
I think that you learn about things that you didn't necessarily get to learn about with the draft. So, for example, and I'm going to go back to our round 2 pick with Landon Dickerson. We didn't necessarily get a full bill of health on him. So I think getting him into our practice area and getting our doctors, whoever they may be at this point, I think Dr. Kevorkian runs our training staff. I think getting our doctors to look at him to see what he can do at this point is important. I think that the rookie minicamp does say a lot, but I really need to see those second-year players show up, like you said, because our second-year players,
especially the Davian Taylors and the Kayvon Wallace, the guys that are still pretty much rookies.
Yeah, they got thrown in the deep end of the swimming pool last year, and that was not beneficial for them. It was not beneficial for this football team. And now Nick Sirianni, he's so excitable. I think the only other thing that you're going to see is the real conversation now about how some players are opting out of these mini camps and training camps because of all the injury stuff. And, you know, the fact that players can get injured following a team approved workout regimen, but whether or not they're going to get paid because it was off, like, there's just so much other stuff. I just want to see football. Let me see football. Take everything else away.
Medium that they could do where maybe they just don't have as many workout, but you got to be together as a team in the off season multiple times. Develop.
You get a brand new coach.
Just have the wide receivers running routes. I know they do it on their own free time, so why they don't want to do it together as a team? You know, there's got to be a happy medium there somewhere. Which, real quick, before you guys address that thought, did you see Dickerson? I mean, he carried like a 400-pound bag into the stadium and did not limp once. So maybe his injury is already fully healed. I mean, he was walking just perfectly fine with his super white pale legs.
Right, but there's a difference between walking and doing a cartwheel behind quarterbacks and being on an offensive line facing your Ndamukong Suhs and your Aaron Donalds and your players who are going to run through your soul.
Jeff?
Yeah, look, at least we're getting a step towards the right direction. This time last year, we didn't have any of this.
We didn't know.
Well, exactly. We didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know we were going to have football this past season. So the fact that we're able to have rookie mini camps, if they have to separate practice a little bit or have a little bit of distancing between the offense and defense, it's a small sacrifice to at least get these guys in here, give them the playbook, get some reps, and just get back to the groove of things of playing football, especially since you have some of these guys who haven't played football in over a year because they sat out for COVID reasons this past season in college. So it's just going to be good to see, which you're going to hear. I understand fans are going to ask the reporters, oh, how does this guy look? How does this guy look? You can't judge anything based off of rookie mini camps. And also, a lot of times these practices, I would say the media right now, they only get to see really like the first 10, 15 minutes, and it's basically just basic drills and stretching. So you're not really going to be able to judge much off of these reporters' comments, reports of training camp, besides maybe if they do line up in a couple like first and second teams or something like that where this person's lining up or what seed are they in and all that. So George, it's just good to get football back.
George, I will do a complete 160 on Dickerson as long as he doesn't have to adjust his gloves mid-play. And then I will consider being the president of that fan club there. Johnny, you want to chime in any more on that there? How's Mr. Newman going to look in minicamp?
Like I said, he's a young quarterback, a developmental quarterback with a coaching staff that I feel that can develop talent. So I just like the minicamp aspect is getting these rookies and young players' feet wet and seeing, like I said, what you're looking for are traits. I know you're not playing games, but to get them kind of acclimated to NFL life I think it's beneficial. It's not more what you do on the field, but it's that, hey, you're in the NFL now. This isn't college anymore. Certain things that we do and putting those little things in place for these rookies to kind of get acclimated to the NFL life.
And I don't want to sound like they're children and they need to be treated like children. But if you're doing offense, like if the wide receivers are in a wide receiver room at the NovaCare complex looking at game film, they might be paying a little bit more attention than if they were in their home office chilling, watching it through a Zoom call like they did all last year, because the coaches are eyeing them up. They're trying to impress more. When you're doing it through a Zoom, you're paying attention. Well, Chip, you taught all year.
I can tell you that flat out.
You
as
know
a
what I'm
teacher.
getting at there, right?
I can tell you flat out as a teacher. So
it's so much more when you're there in person, right?
Right. So like even things as a teacher, even things where I'm teaching in person, I know the kids in front of me are paying attention, but the kids are virtual. Like I can wrangle them. I can send them messages to their screen. I can do all kinds of things. But at that point, I know I don't have their attention. It's why a couple years ago, Cliff Kingsbury, before all the COVID stuff, got in all of this ridiculous controversy because he goes, yeah, I'm going to give my players cell phone breaks. And everyone went, what the hell's a cell phone break? He goes, I know their minds are over there. So they put their stuff over there. And every 15 minutes or so, I'll be like, all right, go take a minute or two, go check your cell phone. Because when we come back, we're going to lock back in. It's understanding that it's not necessarily the game that changes because it's still, you throw the ball, you run the ball, you tackle, you score touchdowns. That part of the game is still the same. But the players are different. Even as a teacher, I call it the SpongeBob generation. I know that ever since SpongeBob came out, ADHD has gone up in kids. So I can hold their attention for 3 to 7 minutes at a time. I can't lecture for 15, 20, 30 minutes because past that 3 to 7 minutes, they're gone.
I don't know how you do it.
You have to get them in person. You have to get them in person.
I mean, and Daniel, I didn't watch Hard Knocks the last couple of years. I haven't had HBO in a long time, but yeah, I mean, I could totally buy that. They weren't paying attention at all with the Zooms and all, and I think that's really important for someone like Kayvon Wallace or Davion Taylor watching film with a coach. Learning it versus over. There was no. I mean, whether it was the coaching staff, whether it was the situation last year, there was no development. And Johnny, you say that you really think this new staff is going to develop. We don't know if the staff's properly going to develop these guys. We hope they do. But, I mean, you heard Kenneth Gainwell talking about the playbook already and how it was geared towards playmakers. You didn't hear that positive energy last year because they weren't doing anything in person to have that positive energy. So hopefully by the time the game starts, or at least training camp starts, the reporters might even be, able to interview, on a select amount at a time in the locker room. So you'll be able to get to know these personalities better. So much is going to change in the next couple months up to the start of the season that can be better.
No, you're.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Go ahead, Chip.
No, go ahead because he mentioned you, but you paused, so I'll wait. Go ahead.
No, I don't know. I understand the coaching staff and what they can do, and the reason I say that is because of the fiery and the passion that Sirianni has. And for me, looking at, yes, he wasn't the head coach in Indianapolis, but the different type of coaches he put around, the young coaches he put around him. If you look at each of their stops and what they've done in their stops with certain players in certain positions, it gives you a little bit of hope. Not saying that they're going to be able to put, the best team together.
Just leave it up there.
And, but for me, I just think that they can get more out of these players than the previous coaching staff did.
Right, and that's first off, George gets comment of the night.
That's comment of the night right there.
Comment of the night, and the fact that it took Jeff 30 seconds to realize that was up there was even better.
He wasn't sneaking it in a book. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Our writer Mike is currently in the presser for the Union game, so he was commenting in the chat. I was responding to it.
Which again, that's a huge step for All About the Birds right now. We're in our first credentialed reporters. We're covering the Philadelphia Union. Mike's doing a great job covering the team. So is Dave. Dave's also not local, so he can't go into the press rooms. But Mike is in the press room tonight, covering that game tonight, which I don't even know if they won or not.
We're all about football here, American and European.
It doesn't matter what kind of football; it's just football. Love it.
No, and so I look at this team, and I look at we talk about player development a lot. I see the passion that Nick Sirianni brings when talking about the game film, and you can see that trickles down into a player like Gainwell going, "Yeah, I've got the playbook. I'm already looking at it." When you don't have that, and it's just here, take this, and then we're not going to test you on it. We're not going to develop you like it happened last year. Look, the player development was an issue before last year. It just was really on showcase last year when you had guys with no training camp, with no mini camps, and they were said, go play football, and they couldn't do it. I think Sirianni brings a passion to it. Now, getting the wide receivers in the room and breaking down the minute details, all that's going to be really important. I think we are going to see some of these second-year guys learn how things work, but you also are learning about the draft class that they got guys that could buy into the system very quickly. You know, Gainwell was given a playbook and he's excited about it. That's not a coincidence that they got a guy who's excited about learning plays because the head coach is excited about teaching plays.
Yeah, that's all great. Any final thoughts, guys, before I wrap this shabacle up, this draft part or sketch draft? I'm thinking draft schedule release party here episode
8 and 9.
I would, yeah.
Eight.
I would just like to
don't
state.
drop a number, Jeff. Why are you dropping a number?
Just for George.
I'll drop this number. According to ESPN, there is an extra wide receiver on the Eagles roster as it stands right now. Marquise Goodwin is still listed as a Philadelphia Eagle. So I don't know what to do about that because he was never a Philadelphia Eagle.
Hey, we do got one question. We talked about the unrealistic trades, but Daniel's checking in. Great comment here. There have been a lot of Jordan Hicks rumors today. He wants out of Arizona. The Eagles need to get rid of, Zach Ertz. It's a matching kind of trade that could be done. I mean, Jordan Hicks isn't Micah Parsons, who I wanted at linebacker, but it's killing two birds with one stone. Thoughts on it, guys?
I love it. I would love it.
It's a no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer.
Is it a no-brainer for both teams, though? That's because you need two partners. You need two to tango.
Yeah.
The Cardinals.
We don't even know
George, we know your thoughts on
back
Ertz. I know. What's that?
We don't even know if Hicks wants to come back here.
It's true.
I think Hicks wants to play. And as far as Jordan Hicks goes, he hasn't missed a game in the last 2 seasons. So right away, he catapults to the top of my available players. Let's get him because he's at least going to be a healthy, warm body who makes tackles.
Are you using my tweet from earlier?
Which one?
The Jordan Hicks.
Would Arizona do it? Arizona needs to get rid of Hicks now.
But
Arizona needs to get rid of Hicks.
Is he better than what we have right now, though?
They have the cap space for Ertz. What's that, Jeff?
Is he better than what we have at linebacker? Because last year, he might have played, but he struggled in pass coverage, which has been Achilles heel to our Eagles linebackers. He missed 14 tackles last year and allowed 41 catches in coverage out of 57 snaps. So obviously he has shown he can't play good coverage being a good coverage linebacker. So you're really just going to swap the drop Ertz?
But he's better than what we have now. And if the forcing of the removal of Ertz is going to be the move. Look, I still think that there is a long shot possibility that Zach Ertz plays on the Philadelphia Eagles in 2021.
I agree.
His draft stock, his trade stock is non-existent. We've learned that because everyone was like, oh, well, he's not going to make it through. He's not going to be a Philadelphia Eagle after the draft. He's still here. Nobody wants him because his contract is too high. He's coming off his worst career season, and he had some injuries. So if you're just swapping them and maybe giving Kyler Murray another weapon for a guy who's not going to play because you did just get your linebacker of the future, I don't know if Arizona would do it, but I'd be cool if they did.
Jeff, so to your point, though, he didn't allow one touchdown reception. Plus, he had an 85 passer rating against.
He still sucked in coverage. He still gave up over 80% of targets that were thrown his way. Yeah, he might not give up touchdowns, but he was still not productive in coverage. He might have played. He might be a machine, which is what we have with Alex Singleton. Alex Singleton had over 100 tackles last season. He's basically a poor man Jordan Hicks right now.
Man, I didn't know you were Italian, Jeff, with the handout. Like you're talking like this, like I
always
do.
talk with my hands.
Yeah, you must have some Italian relatives there somewhere that you don't know about way down the line.
Arizona plays a different defense than the Eagles are probably going to play. A 3-4 is a lot different than a 4-3 under. So, there's a little differences there as well.
All right, let's wrap this
I'll-
shebang up. Let's
I'll
cut it
also
off.
let you know that Nathan Geary is still an Eagle according to ESPN. So at this point, I'm blowing up ESPN's. I deleted that. I deleted that tab. That's gone. I had
How
enough
about we
of
just
that.
delete ESPN?
Enough of that.
Yeah, enough of that. All right, thank you all so much for tuning in. The All About the Birds weekly report. This was our schedule release party episode. Thank you, everybody that was watching on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Make sure you're subscribing, following, retweeting, sharing, helping us to grow. Again, we got Union creds. Hey, maybe this time next year we got Eagles creds, and we're backstage or back in the locker rooms covering the game. Maybe we can get Jeff back on the job over there. The only way we grow like that is with all of your support. Check out our website, aatbirds.com. Of course, the shop section where all of our great merchandise and gear are. One of the best ways you can support us outside of sharing and liking and subscribing, turning those notifications on, checking out our store there. Also, our other great sponsors, 99jersey.com. AAT Birds gets you 20% off. Again, great jerseys. As Chip said, Father's Day's right around the corner. Great way to support, Dad with maybe an Al Bundy. I don't know. I think an Al Bundy would be a great Father's Day gift for every guy out there. So check them out. Check out Statement Games at statementgames.com. It's a fun new twist on fantasy sports. We have a link in the bio on Facebook and Twitter here how you can sign up through our link. Oddsjam.com. It's basically a site that calculates the odds on all the different betting sites, MGM Bet, DraftKings Sportsbooks, FanDuel Sportsbook, how to calculate it so you can place your bets and never lose. Make sure you check it out and sign up through the link below. And, of course, Manscaped, manscaped.com. This is always the sponsor we end with because, your balls will thank you. Your wives will thank you. Hey, use AAT Birds. If you're not going to get your father, some great jerseys, get him some stuff from Manscaped because it'll benefit both the father and the mother there. So AAT Birds gets you 20% off, free shipping as well on their website. Just make sure you use that promo code AAT Birds. All these different things, you use them, you do them, you help support us, helps us to continue putting out content, helps us, keep the website running, the streaming service running and stuff like that. So we greatly, greatly appreciate all of you guys. As we end every show, guys.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Support for All About the Birds is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. We have an exclusive offer for our listeners, 20% off plus free shipping with the code AATBirds at manscaped.com. Manscaped hooked us up with a bunch of tools and formulations from their Perfect Package 3.0 kit, including the Lawnmower 3.0, which comes with an LED light for a more precise shave and is waterproof to make your shower shave clean and easy. The Perfect Package also includes a deodorant for your undercarriage to prevent odors and chafing, a reviving lotion, a pair of boxers and a t-shirt, not to mention a travel bag to store all your grooming goodies. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code AATBirds at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code AATBirds. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Your balls will thank you.